Watching LaMelo Ball play can be a roller coaster, and if you're a LaMelo Ball hater, you're probably seeing some things out there that make you feel validated, and if you're a LaMelo Ball believer, you're probably seeing things out there that make you feel validated as well, because he's doing crazy things on the court, good and bad, but majority good. And I'm not going to say I was right or wrong, but this is the way I wanted to see LaMelo Ball play basketball. All summer I talked about how I don't want to see LaMelo Ball in the pass first role, because I feel like his true potential is more in the scoring category. Not that he's not an amazing passer, but he lacks some of those, defining skills that you need to drive an offense, as far as the mid-range shooting, as far as getting all the way to the rim, putting pressure on the rim, then kicking out. Clearly he can do that at a very high level, but I feel like the best way to maximize a LaMelo Ball team is what we're seeing right now, which is him being dominant as a scorer, and a lot of that being off of the ball. Now, I'm recording this before the game against Indiana, so any stats I give will be before that game. And if you look at it, he's still on the ball a ton, because he should be. He's LaMelo, right? But he's at 10.6 possessions as a pick and roll ball handler this year, which is a ton, but it's down from last year's 11.1. But if you really see the difference, it's in the frequency, which means he's scoring or being used in different ways. Last year, the only player that was a high volume pick and roll player that did it at a higher frequency than LaMelo Ball was Trae Young. And to me, that's not who LaMelo Ball is. So last year, LaMelo Ball's frequency as a pick and roll ball handler was at 45%. This year, that's down to 38%, which is a significant drop. He's now in the range of a CJ McCollum, Shea, Tyler Hero, more off-ball type of players, which again is how I feel like LaMelo Ball needs to be used to get the most out of his scoring potential. Well, now how is he scoring differently compared to last year? Well, first you can look at the transition, right? He's shooting 4 shots per game in transition compared to 2 last year. And I know I'm using last year. We only played in 22 games. So I don't know this for a fact, right? So I might just be making this up in my mind, but I would assume that that means he's out on the wing more in transition, not necessarily always bringing the ball up. And just in general, getting him the ball in more advantageous positions, because LaMelo is an amazing talent, but he doesn't have the quickest first step. He's not the strongest. He is 6'7", but he's not powering over people. Like, he's a very talented player if you can get him in a position with an advantage, and we're seeing that a lot more so far this year. And a real way we're seeing that is on the twos, right? We can focus on his three-pointers and how he's shooting 39% from 3, chucking threes. We all know that's a thing with LaMelo, but he's getting easier twos now. Last year, only 16% of all LaMelo Ball's 2-point makes were assisted. This year, that's all the way up to 36%. For his career, it's around 26%. So last year was a little bit of an outlier, but for his career, he's still done a lot of creation by himself to get twos, where, again, if you get him toward the rim with a smaller defender on him, then him being 6'7" is an easy bucket. And especially with his range and size and vision, this dude is a crazy offensive weapon that I don't think people actually realize how much potential there is for him as a scorer. We always think of LaMelo Ball as pass first, because clearly that's how we probably fell in love with his game, the vision, the crazy passes, but this dude has potential to be one of the best scorers in the league, and we're seeing it this year. And the thing about it is we're seeing this on a team that doesn't have a lot of above average passing on it, right? Who on this team besides LaMelo Ball would you consider an above average passer? Maybe Brandon Miller. Besides Micic, like, who else would you consider a good passer on this team? So as much as I felt like this was the best way to utilize LaMelo and maximize the potential, I didn't really look at this roster and feel like they had the guys to make it work. And I'm still not sure they are actually making it work. Like, they're toward the bottom of the NBA in assists. Not that that matters a ton, right? The Celtics don't get a ton of assists, right? But they only put up 22 assists per game, and LaMelo Ball is 6 of those. LaMelo averages 6, and then Trey Mann and Brandon Miller average 3. Grant Williams is 4th on your team in assists. That's probably a bad sign for your team. So I feel like we are learning, though, and the Hornets franchise should be learning about how we maximize LaMelo Ball. 6 assists, 5 turnovers is crazy, LaMelo. Just looking at that right now, that's a problem. But We're seeing it. Put more playmaking around LaMelo Ball, and I hate to make this comparison, but I always have to make it. But just think about early Steph Curry, and then when the Warriors got Andrew Bogut, right? Someone that can get Steph Curry the ball. They got Draymond Green, obviously. Then they got Iguodala and Sean Livingston, all these good passers that would find this crazy offensive weapon in Steph Curry. No, I'm not saying LaMelo is going to be Steph Curry, but I'm saying he's a crazy offensive weapon that needs guys that can really help hone that in. And all of a sudden, Steph Curry went from averaging 7-8 assists to 6-5 assists, but putting up 30 a game. And we're seeing that transformation right now with LaMelo Ball. We're just not seeing it with any passing around him, which is crazy. And clearly everyone that believed Scoot was gonna be this amazing player has been wrong so far, not that it can't happen. And I was also very high on Brandon Miller, right? So I'm not saying I wanted the Hornets to get Scoot because I thought he was gonna be the better player, but I didn't want the Hornets to pass up on Scoot because of the idea of, oh, LaMelo Ball is this, he's the point guard, he has to be the point guard. I was already in this mindset. I've been talking about this for a very long time with LaMelo. The best version of LaMelo is not gonna be averaging 8-9 assists. It's not gonna be that. In my opinion, it's gonna be him putting up 28 and 6, shooting 11 threes a game, which he's doing right now. And the reason I'm saying we're learning and I'm pointing out the roster is because I don't think it's a sustainable way for this team to operate. I believe this current team would be better with a ball dominant point guard. I think I said it in my last LaMelo video, and I know I just keep referencing my own videos now, but I said I wish that LaMelo and Trae Young could trade rosters, right? Because I look at Brandon Miller, I look at Grant Williams, Miles Bridges, right? Even a Trey Man who's doing a lot off the dribble. But those are guys that need a point guard to set them up. And obviously LaMelo Ball is an amazing passer. You guys get what I'm saying. But then I look at the Hawks roster and I look at guys that would thrive in ball movement. I look at Dyson Daniels. I look at Larry Nance. I look at Ricochet, who's a good ball mover. Bogdanovich would thrive in a ball movement system. I believe Jalen Johnson has untapped potential as a passer, right? So obviously that's never gonna happen. That trade would never happen, should never happen. But I just believe that each of those guys will look better, or the guys around them will look better if they traded places. But no need to go down that rabbit hole of a conversation. Let's talk about what it is right now. And right now I'm having a ton of fun watching LaMelo Ball play basketball. Hopefully he can cut out the turnovers a little bit, but this is the ideal version of LaMelo Ball in my eyes. I just don't think he has the necessary talent around him and skill sets around him to actually really maximize it. We seen a couple years ago his chemistry he had with someone like a Mason Plumlee, right? Similar to the Bogut effect with Steph Curry. If he had some wings that could really pass the ball, I think we'd see a special team. Like, I really think LaMelo is that special of a player, and it's not specific well, obviously this conversation is specific to LaMelo, but I think about some of the other great scorers where they probably spent a little bit too much time on the ball, where they could have probably gotten easier buckets. They probably could have been utilized more of a off-ball weapon and could have been even more efficient as a player. I don't want to name names because it's not the time to have that conversation, but yeah. Let me know what you think about this new version of LaMelo. Do you prefer LaMelo like this, or do you want to see LaMelo Ball being the primary engine? Obviously, he's the engine of the offense, but you guys get what I'm saying. Do you want to see LaMelo Ball run 1,000 pick and rolls like Trae Young or a prime James Harden? Or do you believe, like I believe, we should see more of this off-ball LaMelo and really put him in advantageous positions where he doesn't have to break down his defender, where he doesn't have to have an amazing first step? He could just rely on what he's great at. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please drop a like, please comment, please subscribe. I'm out. Peace.